Hello?
Hello, may I speak to Grace?
This is her.
Hi, Grace. This is Angela with HEAL. You had called us yesterday regarding Provo Canyon Behavioral Hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's been 2 years, and there's a 4-year statute of limitation, so I've got to get it done.
Yeah.
And they asked me who put me in there, which family member signed, and I said, well, the cops took me from the ER to there. And I didn't understand that, but then I talked to other people, and they said that the cops told them, the cops for the American Port, that I didn't have no family or I didn't have no children. But yet if they would have pulled up my medical records at the ER, they had my daughter and her phone number as an emergency contact, and my sister, Dorothy, and her number as an emergency contact.
Okay.
So this is really all kind of confusing, and I'm not sure. It wasn't just the abuse that I received in there. They took me to several different places. Well, I don't even remember first being in there. I took some medicine and don't remember it. I was allowed 1 shower in 16 days.
Wow.
And I've got all my information. I started going downstairs and eating, and then I started going over this paperwork that I found because I moved from the area since then. And it's got all these billings, where they billed me, but yet they kept taking me into the Utah Valley Hospital in Provo. And they've been doing all these different injections and stuff like that, and I don't understand that neither,
Yeah.
And it's like, I came out of there more scared than I did when I went in there. And I went in there because I thought maybe it was a drug treatment program.
Oh.
And the reason why I went into the hospital in American Port to the ER is because my medicine, I was on Xanax and Noracotins, and I had been on them for quite some time, but of course people seem to want them a lot more than you do, that you need them, and I was afraid of going into seizures. So when the officer came and asked me if I wanted to go into the ER, I said yes, that I wanted to because I was afraid of having seizures.
Wow.
And next thing I know, I wake up and I'm in this place, and I tried to leave, and there was 3 big guys that stopped me, put me back in my room, and then there's a lot of things, and when I asked to talk to, well, they got it as Jim Miller, but it's James Miller, every time I tried to make a complaint about it, they're like, well, we have to talk to him. I never seen no therapist while I was in there. I talked to one person before they actually took me into my room. I didn't see no therapist, no nothing, and next thing I find out, they're telling me that they put me in there because it was a mental hospital.
Okay. Okay, well, that all sounds very questionable.
I started going on the website, and Googling all the procedures that they did, and they did electrocardiograms. They done brain x-rays with dye and without, and they continued to do it. And on the day that I was released from there, it shows that I was charged for an emergency visit, and I never went to the emergency room.
Wow.
And then it shows the injections again.
That's crazy. Well.
Okay. Because also they had possession of my purse in there. I wasn't able to touch it at all. But it's kind of strange when I got out of there because I'm on disability, on SSI and SSA. I called on my card, and somebody had taken all my money off. I got evicted from my apartment because of all of this. I had to go into my manager when I got out to get the keys, which I had them with me in my purse. And how convenient. When I get to the apartment and get the key to get into the apartment, I go upstairs so I can continue, to get my stuff out of there. My keys were sitting upstairs on my bedroom floor.
Oh, wow.
you know, and then there was a phone call made from the cell phone. I have the number, you know, and it's like just different things. I'm not understanding, you know. I'm not saying that I was denying treatment because, you know, I wanted it.
Right.
You know, but not in that manner and not in that order. And there's even some strange things ever since I went to a doctor in Roosevelt. It's like, there's just some really strange, weird things going on now.
Yeah.
And that's why I really, seriously, you know, I really need some help. And I really believe that, you know, I am in danger because it's still going on, even after I was released out of there. And then somebody had access to my mailbox key, and I got a ticket before I went in there, and the court papers had to have been in my mailbox. Well, I found out that I have a warrant from my arrest for failure to comply, to appear. I didn't even know that I was supposed to be in court. When I was supposed to be there, I was in there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know, and yeah, it is. It really is. You know, and it's just, I just need some help, you know, and I'm been off all medication ever since all this has happened, other than a couple that I've needed for my gastro problems, you know, and a couple of pain meds, but as far as all the antidepressants and all that stuff, I mean, I stopped everything.
Wow. Well, I hope you find a provider that is going to be respectful and give you the help you need if you are still in need of assistance. I think, I don't know, my recommendation would be to leave Utah because there's so many problems with the regulatory systems in Utah. But I'm hoping things are changing. I know they got rid of the two bad attorney generals, and apparently they've gotten rid of the ombudsman who was not handling complaints properly. So I'm hoping that's a sign of good things coming as far as regulation in Oregon, or not Oregon, excuse me, in Utah.
Yeah, exactly. But still, you know, still it's like they've got other places in different states. You know, I researched that. I had a friend bring this up and started doing it, you know. So if they're all tied into the Provo Canyon facility in Orem, then how do I know that it's not going to follow me right where I'm going?
Right, right. Well, be careful and get some good legal help and file that complaint with the Utah Department of Licensing for Provo Canyon, which I gave you that number. Definitely do that. My first suggestion is going to be to say you do that, and then if you don't get a response from an attorney swiftly, do you have internet access? I mean, do you have email?
Yeah, I have an email, but that's another thing. My email got hacked into, so I had to make a whole new email and a whole new Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Because I wasn't able to access it. And then I was getting emails to my phone, like when my bills were due and when they were paid and stuff like that. But then I just quit getting I don't get no more emails on my phone showing it.
Okay.
You know, and then I started getting all these codes saying, this is your Google code number and stuff like that. I didn't even request one.
Oh, weird. Okay. Well, the other office I was going to suggest you contact would be the Attorney General in Utah. If you can't get an attorney to look at what's going on, the Attorney General should be able to investigate or tell you who else to report to. There's a lot of buck passing when it comes to any kind of getting anything done with the government.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is.
No, and I understand. You know, my insurance was charged $11,600 and something just from them. Plus, I got charged through all the tests and the procedures that they did. Well, I didn't, but my insurance company did.
Wow.
Okay, why was I charged, you know, almost $11,700 for a 16-day stay you know, but yet then they start doing all this other stuff, lab work, x-rays, and stuff like that.
This sounds like another giant scam where they want to bill you for ridiculous services that have nothing to do with what you actually came in to be treated for. Are you on Medicare and Medicaid? Got the information for you on how to contact the Attorney General in Utah and how to contact the licensing for Provo Canyon Behavioral Hospital to file a complaint with them. But if you want to file a complaint, which you should also do for Medicaid and Medicare fraud through DHHS, I'm going to have to get that information for you, or you can look it up on your own. It's, I believe it's just dhhs.gov. is the National Department of Health and Human Services, and they should have a report Medicare, Medicaid fraud, big bold thing on their homepage. They usually do, and then you just have to call them or whatever through that.
That's what?
And they'll have information on how to report the Medicaid and Medicare fraud.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know, and I've got all the things, you know, and I just really don't understand all this, you know. And now I have a warrant for my arrest, and because I wasn't aware of it, I would have been there, you know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because some of the things that I researched that they did to me, one of the drugs that I was given, it wasn't even FDA approved.
Wow.
You know, and it shows the side effects, and I don't know how long-term the effects can be, you know.
Right.
But, I'm really starting to show some signs, like I have Barrett's disease, which is like a precancer cell in my stomach.
Oh, wow.
You know, I thought some of that was for that, but it's not, you know, and it's like I really don't know what's going on. I don't want medication. I just want to get taken care of what's wrong with me now.
Right.
And I've not been on drugs. I've not taken anything, you know, but something's just not right. Because something happened while I was in there for people to be still following me as soon as they got my address. You know, and I get phone calls, and I call them back, and it's like, oh, the number you reached has been disconnected. Okay, well, how do I know it's not going through the computer?
How bizarre. How bizarre. And then
well, my debit card for Social Security got hacked, and I wasn't able to use it. I had to cancel that one out and get a whole new one.
That's crazy.
So how convenient. You know, and I thought when I started doing the research, it was all, you know, for minors, juveniles use. And I was like, okay, what was I doing in there? I didn't see no young people in there at all.
Yeah.
You know. And then I brought up the website and everything, and I even brought out when they opened the new Provo Canyon, it said that the Daily Herald as of, it was like January 2001 is when it opened, 2012 is when they were there to get ready to open. Well, I was in there in September of 2012. You know, so they had just barely opened that one.
It's really dirty.
Yeah, it's still going on. I guarantee you. And I was told when I asked them, can I take a shower? They're like, yeah, but we have to stand here and watch you. You know.
Oh, how creepy. That is so gross. That is so gross.
Seriously. I ran around in the same hospital gown. They didn't even give me, and I don't know what happened to my clothes that was with me when I went into the hospital. Of course, I had clothes on, and I asked them about clothes. And they said, oh, we have community clothes. So they gave me a pair of shorts and a shirt, and that's what I wore. And then my daughter, she had moved to Arizona, and she couldn't find me, and she didn't know what was going on for sure. And the only way that she got any information as to where they took me to is she threatened to file a missing persons report.
Wow.
And, you know, a police report. And then they told her where I was at. But then it's like, I don't know what kind of medicine they were giving me, but I talked to my sister, and she said that I told her that I was pregnant with triplets, but I wasn't going to be able to keep them because they were going to take them. I've had a hysterectomy. they also had me believing that they put a rat inside of me. Seriously, some of the things, and I'm willing to take a polygraph. I'm willing to be hypnotized by somebody that I know I can trust.
Right.
I have nothing to hide. And I acted, and it's awful funny because the 2 rooms across to me, they were charged that they were changing a heater in the middle of the night, and I heard this girl say, "Stop it, you guys, you're hurting her,
Wow.
And it's like then the people that I did get close to, I know their names, that I talked to and associate with, and that how convenient. They just came up missing, and then after I went to the Provo Hospital and everything, they're like, "Oh, you can sign yourself out." Okay, if the cops put me in there, then how can I sign myself out?
Right. That's wild.
So
but I need to tell you, we record our calls at Heal, so I need to make sure you know that the call's recorded.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you recorded it.
Okay.
I'm so glad. And I will get in touch with these people, and if I have not heard anything, I will definitely get back in touch with you, because as long as I know I can touch bases, I'll even leave a message, that I'm okay.
Good. Please do. Please do.
It said, I got all this information, all the paperwork and everything, and I keep it with me at all times, verifying what they billed, my insurance, and everything, of medical records, the description of what they did, when they did it, and I remember they come to give me a shot, and I was so scared, and I started fighting. I said, "I don't want a shot. I don't want a shot." They ended up giving it to me, and next thing I know, I'm waking up in some hospital, and I'm like, "Where am I at?" And they said, "Provo."
Wow.
And then when I was released from there, there was still some more things going on, so I went and stayed with my daughter-in-law, and she didn't even want me around there, and they had an officer come in Spanish Fort. Next thing I know, they took me to the Provo, Utah Valley Hospital, and locked me in a psychiatric facility again for a couple of days, and I cooperated, no medications. The only thing that I asked for was Tylenol to help me. And they said that they kicked me out of there because I would not take, because they would not give me medicine, and I was escorted out by security. No, the people in that little area took me downstairs, and I had to ask some guy, he's like, "Excuse me, can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, sir. Can you show me how to get out of here to go catch the bus?"
Wow.
And some of the things that are happening, they're trying to make it look like that I'm going crazy, that I'm crazy, and I'm not.
Right. That's one of their tactics, which is really unethical beyond belief, and corrupt. Would it be... There's a lot of good information in this call. I will not use anything that we've recorded without your express permission, but would it be all right with you if we used your recording, this conversation, to expose what's going on there, or would you rather we not?
No, use it. Go for it.
Okay.
I need help,
Right.
These people have got me acting like I'm crazy. My kids don't even believe me. My son won't even keep in touch with me. And my grandkids, they're older. And it's like I had a real good relationship with my grandkids, and my son. And it's like they won't call, they don't keep in touch, nothing.
That's crazy.
And I don't know what else that, there's some other things, but I really don't want to go into details because, as you know, all I know, and it's the same voice that I heard when I was in the ambulance, and it's a female, and there's 2 males. I never actually seen them, but they are trying to drive. Seriously, they're trying to drive me crazy. That's why I know something seriously had to go on in there, why they had me in such a state of a coma that I didn't even know what was going on. When I came out of there, you should have seen my lips. I mean, they even gave me IV injections to rehydrate me.
Wow.
You know, and it's like I was aware of the one time, but not unless there's problems, you know, it's not unless the one time I do know of, but the rest of them, it's like it was billed to my insurance. But how convenient. It's out of the Provo Hospital. And then there was add-on meds after I went, and they did testing. And I have a portacath in my chest, and I tried to tell them that. And they drew blood from me, and I told them about my portacath, and they're like, no. So they insisted on drawing blood out of my arm. Well, I still have a blue mark from where they took the blood out of me. And I had x-rays done the other day because I've been having problems with my shoulder. My port it goes into my shoulder and it goes up into my neck. Well, in the x-ray, it shows where it goes to the neck, but it's kinked off and it goes back towards the lung area.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's not how the port was put in there. I know exactly how it was put in there, into it. But seriously, I really and truly believe, I don't know what I experienced. I'm sure, you know, once I get into it, I know what I did. But after I was sedated and went to that Provo Hospital, I don't know really what happened. But something seriously wrong had to have gone in there, you know, for all this to still happening. And I just kept telling them, you know, I wasn't going to pursue it. I was just going to let it go. But I'm not going to let it go no more.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And we're here to support you in filing whatever claims you need because they need to be stopped.
Yeah, exactly. And then everybody got mad at me because I didn't want to go into independent living. Well, no, because it's through Wasatch Mental Health, and they're in with Provo Canyon.
Right.
You know, and that's how I got mixed up with all this to begin with. I was seeing a therapist. I started seeing them in American Port at the office. It was Artisan. I have the paperwork on that, you know, and come to find out I end up in a psychiatric hospital. And before I even went to that place, there was some real strange things going on. And I did file some complaints, and I did make police report on things that were stolen out of my apartment. And the next thing I know, they had me so terrified. I was so terrified there that when I got evicted, I was on the streets. And, yeah, I'm going to say, yes, for my own protection, I did have knives in my purse. You know, but I'm not the type of person that would have ever used them.
Right.
Not unless somebody would have came at me. It was for my own safety. And they're saying that that's what the thing was. But it was...
Well, that's just crazy because Utah wanted to name a state gun, and they allow for open carry on college campuses. I mean, it's ridiculous that you wouldn't be able to carry a weapon to protect yourself when they have so many laws allowing for self-defensive measures such as carrying weapons in Utah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the therapist is, of course, through Wasatch Mental Health, 750 North, 200 West, Provo, Utah, and I was seeing Brian L. Arneson, Arnesen, and it's got CP in front of all that, whatever that means.
Okay. It probably means, like, I don't know what it means, counselor or something. I'd have to look it up what CP means, but there's a lot of different little acronyms that people use. It could mean certified professional, but a certified professional in what? We've seen people claim to be licensed professionals who are not. And there's a lot of strange things going on. But
yeah, exactly. You know, and this is, you know, I just don't understand what's going on. And also, I just noticed here, you know, that I've just got all this, you know, and it's like my insurance has been double billed. They've got dates down here. When I wasn't to the doctor, I went to my regular family physician on October the 3rd, 2012, and they've got it down here as October the 10th on the insurance, you know, and it's like I have medical problems that I really need to follow up with, but I'm scared because I don't know which physician to really trust.
Right. And I understand. I do. That's difficult.
Yeah, and just so that you know, I am not suicidal. I'm not going to harm myself in no way, shape, or form. You know, I just want to continue on with my life. I want closure with this, you know, and so if anything does happen to me, it was not self-inflicted. That is not something that, no. I meant in May, I took too many Xanaxes, and I was taken to the American Fork Hospital. That time I did admit to it. But I had just lost my mom. I had just lost my dad, dealing with several other different things, you know.
Right.
And that's why I started going to Wasatch Mental Health to get help, you know. And then, I wished I wouldn't have, because I'm pretty sure that's why they put me in that place.
Right. That's terrible.
You know, and then not to notify none of my family members.
That's ridiculous.
You know, and somebody had to sign to put me in there. I'm sorry, but the cops couldn't.
Right.
They may have for like overnight or something like that, but I know they could not have. And as soon as all this was done, then I was told, oh, if you want, you can check yourself out at any point in time. So of course I checked myself out. My oldest son passed away, and he's buried in the Orem Cemetery just across the way from where the place is. And I was telling some people in there, they had me believing that they dug my son up and buried somebody else in there.
That's crazy.
You know, so that's why I said...
and that's not unusual. A lot of these facilities try to get people to believe lies about themselves and their loved ones, and lies, and to document these things. Like, they'll say, do you believe something crazy? And they'll say something crazy like what you just said, which is they've dug up your son's body and replaced it with another body that isn't his. They'll say these things, and they'll do it intentionally so they can make a note in your chart so that they can show that you're crazy when you're not. I totally believe what you're saying, because this is something that they've been doing to establish a reason for why they kept you so long without notifying you. You were free to go and sign yourself out, because they can make these claims. Well, she was still saying irrational things, or she was still having irrational thoughts, such as her son was buried and dug up, and then another person was put in his place, or, rats in the stomach, or pregnant with triplets, or whatever it is. This is something that they're doing intentionally. I call it crazy making. I don't know what else it is, but it's crazy making, and it's got to be stopped.
Yeah, and after I got out of that place, I caught the bus and I went to Pleasant Grove, where my P.O. box was at, and got my mail, and it was all bundled up. And I got back up on the bus, and I made it as far as Orem to the Instacare there in Orem, and it was late at night. And I don't know how they made me think of this, seriously, but they had me believing to get off the bus and go in there. I got off the bus. I gave the bus driver my mail. I went in there. I sat down. The place closed. And next thing I know, they had me believing to go get in this van. There was a work van out there that was white. And next thing I know, I'm talking to the Orem Police Department.
Wow.
I sat in the police car. I did not resist or nothing. And they kept saying, who told you to do this? Who told you to do this? Well, I couldn't tell them because I didn't know.
Right.
And it's like, I'm really not crazy. I just want a happy, going life without pain and agony, you know, and of course I'm off all the medication. I'm done with it, you know. Occasionally I have had to take Norco for the pain. I have a herniated disc in my back, you know, and I think I'm fighting a kidney infection, you know, but it's like I'm scared to go to a doctor because I don't know who's tied in with them and who's not.
Right.
And when I went to the Roosevelt Clinic and had blood work done because I was diagnosed with hepatitis C with a liver biopsy, and they got the test results back. They said they sent them out to Salt Lake, and they told me that I did not have it. Well, okay, how could I not have it when there was a biopsy done of the liver before I even went in there? You know, and next thing I know, I signed these paperwork, and the lady right there told me, oh, sign this, and this will give any doctor the authorization to check your blood work. I never once thought about it when I signed it.
Oh, wow.
You know, until now. You know, so that's why I'm scared to go to a doctor.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, everybody that I talk to, they're like, why did you start doing heroin? I've never touched heroin in my life. I've seen too many people die from it. You know, I don't even know what it is. And the therapist that I was talking to at the Utah Valley Hospital, he took me into a room, and I started they said that I was just pill seeking, and then he brought up the thing. I had to keep asking him what he was talking about.
Did you I don't know if you will remember this or not, but do you enjoy poppy seed muffins or cakes, and did you have any poppy seed muffins or cakes before being put into these to Provo Canyon?
No, ma'am.
Okay, because poppy seed is where poppies are where opium is derived, or not opium, excuse me, heroin and opium, both of them are derived from poppies as far as my understanding goes. So it's it can come up in your system even if you don't use it, if you're eating poppy seed stuff, like trace amounts. So
yeah, the only thing that I was taking that was a controlled substance and a narcotic was Xanax, 2 milligrams, which how convenient they came up missing, and Norco 10. Other than that, I was not. Oh, and I was on Cymbalta and stuff for my stomach, but them were the only 2 controlled substances. Other than that, if there's anything else in my system, I didn't put it there.
Right.
I did not put it in there.
I hear you. I mean, they may have been making it up. A lot of these, there's this whole other branch of youth facilities where the owners came out of Provo Canyon, Carr Farnsworth, and Robert Litchfield, and they own this group of facilities called under the umbrella corporation WASPS, which is Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs in Schools, and they force false confessions and try to make children admit to doing things they've never done, like prostitute themselves, have sex with animals, use narcotics that they've never even heard of. It's crazy. So this is something they do because they want to establish a basis for keeping the kids in the facility, because they're actually violating the law, and unless they have a serious belief that there are serious issues at play, like severe drug abuse or self-harming behavior or illegal behavior, they have no right to keep people in those facilities.
Are you aware of Copper Hills?
Yeah.
Well, I had a niece that was flown out here from Hawaii, and they put her in there. And she was telling me some of the things that was happening. And when she went back to home visit, they said, and her name is, she was telling me some of the things that was going on in there, and she was scared to death. I'd get her on home visits and everything. And I even went and had a scan to see if I could get her as a foster child.
Right.
You know, and she was telling me some of these things, and I really didn't know whether to believe her or not because of what I'd heard. Well, They said that she split some counselor or something's eye open, and so they took her, and then supposedly they took her back. And I should have listened to her then when Copper Hills come up onto it. Now I'm wondering if maybe my name is not connected with Copper Hills because they had all of my information in their logbook.
Right.
Because I was the one who picked her up, took her back, who she got to call and everything. So, you know, I'm just really confused. I don't know what's going on, and I just need to get to the bottom of it. You know, and I keep trying. I've opened up, and I told more to one friend that was just here for 2 weeks than I have anybody. But I don't want to, you know, keep talking about it. But I had to get it out because I know what went on in there.
Right.
You know, and it's like, oh, if you're hearing these people, yeah, they're going to really think you're crazy, you know, that you're psychotic. And it's like, I know what went on, and that's why I don't say anything, because everybody holds it against me. And I can just imagine what they documented in my medical records.
Right. Well, they falsify those too, and UHS owns Provo Canyon Behavioral Hospital, and UHS has been found guilty at the federal level in federal court. Why it's still open, we don't know, except for big companies apparently only have to pay fines, and then they get to keep doing what they do. But they had to pay millions and millions of dollars in fines for falsifying medical records and saying they provided treatment they did not provide, and for a number of other fraudulent practices. And this is a case like 2 years ago, but they're still open. It's like, well, why are they still open when we know that they have this system of fraud in place? It's
2
ridiculous.
Years ago, that's when I was in there.
Yeah.
You know, how convenient.
Right.
And heaven only knows how many other people. And I thought that it was just a little area because where I was at, and I thought it was kind of strange, okay, because they had men and women on the same screen. Where I was at, there was men too. And then they moved all the men out after I tried, and then they moved them over onto the other side.
Wow.
And the only type of help that I got when I was there, I went and no therapy, no counseling. I went to an exercise group, and I went and watched them do arts and crafts once, and that's it.
Wow.
You know, and then when I found out that it was a mental illness place, it's like, okay, why didn't I get therapy? Why didn't I get counseling? And every time I said something or questioned something, next thing I know, I don't remember nothing.
Wow.
I would love to speak to other people that have gone through the abuse and the torture that I received when I was in there. And thank you for believing me. That's all I got to say is thank you for believing me. And you have my permission to use this in any way you need to. Go for it. I approve 100%.
Thank you. I will.
So much was explained to me now. So much was explained to me. She wasn't lying.
No.
And she didn't deserve to go through what she went through.
That's true.
Not at all. You know, no child does. And they're supposed to be there, and I'm not really depressed, but I do get emotional when I think about it. No child or no person deserves to go through inhumane procedures.
Right.
And places do. You know, makes God, oh, it's horrible. And that's all I got to say. Okay.
Well, we agree with you.
All right.
Okay.
You have a good evening.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
And now, a HEAL alert. The California-Utah pipeline. We have a problem out here in the state of California with the California to Utah pipeline. For some reason, when kids are caught and institutionalized by judges in California, they are being sent to private institutions in Utah. Oftentimes their rights are violated. So we have had reports of them being woken up in the middle of the night and then whisked away to Utah. So now what is happening is we have a petition asking Utah to mandate remote video testimony access for non-resident witnesses and parties to civil litigation and victims of crime. Angela Smith, the founder of HEAL Online, gives us more information.
Our chapter launched a petition recently, and our petition is to request that the state of Utah mandate that their courts allow for remote and satellite testimony from victims of institutional abuse in criminal and civil actions. Well, if they're party to a civil action or a victim of crime, that we want them to be able to testify remotely from their home states. Utah accepts non-resident students. The kids are sent involuntarily from their home residential states, and they deserve to have access to justice when these programs harm them. That includes me, and that includes 300 plus people that were witnesses in our lawsuit, and that includes 2 recent victims of sexual assault at a facility in Utah where the prosecutor dropped the charges in the prosecution because the girls were too traumatized to return to Utah to testify. So we're asking that Utah have and implement a system where remote testimony and satellite testimony is provided in special circumstances, which would include non-resident parties and victims.
Visit HealReport.tv and sign the petition to give the kids a voice. This has been a HEAL Alert.